and gentlemen, welcome to episode 139 of Petey's Awesome Guest Panel, and not just any ordinary episode. This is a special birthday celebration. Whose birthday it is? Well, we'll get that right in a minute. Before we do, I just want to introduce tonight's very special people and very important people, I might add. First off, one of my co-hosts, the guy who is the Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson, and that is Christopher Petey.
Hey, yo.
See, you got to patent that, Chris. You know how he goes, hi, yo, you go patent that. Hey, yo, I don't care if it's public domain. You go do that. Also introducing tonight's co-host for this evening, a good friend of mine from Reality of Wrestling, that run by WWE Hall of Famer Booker T, my good buddy, Mr. Darius JoJo Gibbons.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing?
Hi.
Hey. I always love having you here, Dare.
Oh, love to be here. Love to be here.
Always fantastical to have you, buddy. Now introducing one of the two major guest stars we have tonight. This woman, I followed her career since her Tough Enough days, and she's one of my favorite women, female wrestlers of all time. And I believe, like my guest star tonight, one of my guest stars, she was also very innovative for women's professional wrestling, and I will get to that shortly. My guest at the time is former WWE Women's Champion and Divas Champion, Miss Melina Perez. Melina, I feel like doing that tribal yell you used to do. That's how excited I am of doing this show.
No, everybody's speakers would just go out.
Oh, let's hear it.
All right, now to introduce the birthday girl. Yep, we're getting to that right now. Introduce tonight's the other guest star tonight, the birthday girl herself, and a dear friend of mine who we've been friends, I believe, for nearly 10 years now, going on nearly a decade. My guest this time is former Glow Girl and the founder of Afterglow, my good buddy, Miss Roxy Astor.
Hello, and
Birthday girl, how are you today?
celebrating my birthday. I love getting old. It's great.
Do you? I don't really appreciate going on myself, but you know.
Hey, we're still here. We're still here.
Yeah, we're here. That's all that matters. That's good.
I just want to say too, ladies, because I think you ladies are very it's called very innovative in your own and like different reasons though for women's wrestling. Roxy, you took part in Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, which was at the time the first ever, I believe, the first ever all-female wrestling promotion. And I could be wrong on this one too, but I believe Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, or Glow, was actually the first wrestling promotion to feature a backstage confrontation, like a backstage brawl.
Well, that's something I don't know.
I just based it on.
I know we used to fight back there a lot. That I do know.
I remember too. It was like the pilot episode, and it had like all the what they call sweethearts, and then the kitty killers, and they all battled like in the front of the Riviera Hotel. I thought that was magnificent.
Oh yeah, see that goes back to season 1 and 2, and you had Jackie Stallone that was our manager, and Aunt Kitty, and those two used to really go at it. It was great.
I mean, you got the mama of Sylvester Stallone.
Got the mom of Sylvester, yeah. She used to come hang out. So I got a really cool picture with her and Tiffany Mellon. So kind of iconic. She was great. And Sage used to come to the show. Sage Stallone. He used to come visit the set.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah.
Melina, you're also very important for women's wrestling because you took part in the Ruthless Aggression era, which at the time was starting to shift away from the bra and panties and the costume matches into more of like female wrestling. Because in 2006, that's when we started getting more women's titles matches and wrestling matches, which I was all for. And in fact, I believe you won your first title in 2006, I believe, right? Was it 2006 or 2007?
I think it was 2006. Yes, it was 2006 because I think Eminem debuted in 2005, and I think I was title the following year.
I remember that because when I exactly remember when you exactly debuted on Raw, when you actually it was a guest host when they did the thing in November where everyone guest.
Now don't remind people.
I'm sorry.
Where's Eminem?
I mean, you guys were cool. As Carlito used to say, you guys are cool.
Cool. When I came out with the Divas, that was so not cool because I was like, I don't, they were hot and then I'm just me, and so it felt weird.
I mean, but you are one hell of a. I mean, you're both. I mean, but you're the type of you're the personification. Yeah, I think so. You're the personification of a beauty who can kick ass.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, Roxy.
Yes, she is.
Oh,
and I guess it could be argued if China was the spearhead, you were probably the momentum.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I was telling Roxy this too, Melina. There was a wrestler there, like, and when I saw you perform for the first time, I immediately told Roxy, when I see Melina perform, I can't help but think of the legendary Spanish Red from Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, Erica.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
And she was one of my favorites.
Yo.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Yeah, Melina had a different vibe though. Spanish Red was like she was like a hyper wrestler.
Oh, but I'm saying like Melina was bad, and Melina still is
Melina,
badass.
yeah, Melina was a badass. But I always thought you were a diva, Melina. You weren't a diva. You didn't want to be a diva.
no, I'm both. Like whatever it is, regardless of what you name me, even though because diva sounds sassier. It just sounds like I am like it, So that's why I'm diva. I'm like, who doesn't want to be a diva? And
me.
You don't wanting to be approval. I want you to accept me for who I am.
Exactly.
Call me. I still work the same. I still will kick somebody's ass. Like, so why can't I be a diva and kick somebody's ass? Why can't I be feminine but do something that's could be bloody?
Oh, I like that. Wait, Melina, were you a heel or a good girl? Yeah. You were a heel?
I was both, but I was mostly a heel.
Oh, I see. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a heel, but I was a good girl.
Well, because you have that good girl face. That's a hard part.
Oh, I'm so bad.
When they see you as like, this is how you look, and this is where we want to keep you, but no, we shouldn't change. It's hard to like get everybody to change perception.
Yeah, I know. I got stuck in that one thing, but I would do some bad girl moves, so I got away with it. So
yeah, so a little bit like Stone Cold Steve Austin, you were an anti-hero.
Yes.
Can I get your ladies' opinion on something though? Because do you call it a wrestling championship title or a belt?
Championship, but it's always easier to say title sometimes because it's shorter.
But do you agree with like the term belt, like it shouldn't be used though, or you think that it's?
Is that a dispute?
Well, Vince McMahon.
I didn't know.
Vince,
Vince McMahon was disputing it.
Yeah, Vince, you're not allowed to say the word strap, belt, because this is the explanation they gave, and I'll give a really good anecdote right here. Cody Rhodes came back to WWE in 2022, and then he says, "My goal is to win the WWE Championship belt," and then miscorrected him saying, "It's a title. A belt holds up your pants."
Then why does it have snaps on
exactly.
it? Why do you put it around your waist if it's not a belt like that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, are we really nitpicking these little things and getting upset?
I think
at least Vince was.
I think we should have a crown. Just saying.
They actually do have a crown.
We have the ring.
I'll have a scepter too. I mean, whatever it is, let's fight for it.
Exactly.
They actually do have a crown now, the Queen of the Ring.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen it. I've seen people bring pictures of it. It is adorable. I love it. Wait, they have a crown and then they have like 10 belts?
They have a crown, and now they actually were very generous for women's wrestling nowadays. I think this is all Paul Levesque's doing, Triple H is doing, but now he added a women's secondary title, like a mid-card title, in NXT. I think, and he added the tag team titles for women. He added a Money in the Bank for women, which I would have loved to see Melina win the Money in the Bank if it was around that time. That would have been so cool.
Unfortunately,
they added a women's Royal Rumble, and I know for a fact because Melina, you participated in 2022, and you gave a dominant performance.
Another thing WWE added was also like WWE Speed, something you can actually watch on Twitter. The matches are 3 minutes long, and yeah, they got that for both the women's division and the men's division.
But that belt seems more like a hardcore title where anybody compete for that.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, women's wrestling. I'm so happy that Triple H is finally doing the right moves for female wrestling, something that Vince never did.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Melina would know that. I wouldn't know that. So,
in fact,
you guys did something incredible where they refused to have women on TV in the WWF. Like they would not have women's wrestling at all. Low held up the front for women in wrestling by showing all the time, like, hey, there's a spot for women in wrestling.
Yeah. Like, we came on after WWF on Saturday mornings, and that's actually where I first saw it. And then that's where I'm like, I got to be a part of this because it was just all female, kick-ass girls, and I'm like, this is what I have to do. So I've never seen anything, like that. And I watch a little bit of the wrestling, but no, that was fun. And I went out on Glow. I did not want to wrestle after Glow. How do you go out? Like, what do you do after Glow?
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
like
I
there's
was
no
good.
cares to it.
Yeah.
That's one thing I miss about wrestling too, is storylines. And it's because like indies is beautiful. I love working with everybody and different like girls and meet them, and I just love interacting with people, but I miss storylines. There's just something to work towards and build upon, and
Yeah.
out and everything. Like that's something, it's an art in itself that cannot
Yeah.
be
I think the fans like it too, because then you kind of see, you want to go next week and see what's going on. It's,
True.
it's different. It's changed a lot, hasn't it, Melita? It's
Yeah.
changed. Yeah.
Yeah. I like what let's see. We were rewatching Glow, my friend Rick and I were rewatching Glow. And like every so often we do that. And the thing is that if I want people to watch it, because it's like I think it has like this some people think that it's just like it's not wrestling. I'm like, what? Watch it. See, it's campy. But if you watch the wrestling part of it, yeah, the ropes aren't like wobbly and everything, but you
Right.
guys are really fighting it out. Like there are moments where I'm like, oh, she got her good, and the hair's being pulled like legit.
Oh, that a lot of it was real. A lot of it was Godiva and we had a match, and I got knocked out in the ring from Cheyenne's Cher. I went crazy, jumped over the ropes, and started fighting Godiva. And she was telling me to slow down, and I was just off when we were just going at it. That was real.
Did she give you a receipt for it?
No, but I got the proof on the match. You could see it. You could see it in my eyes. But that was good times. Good times.
I have to ask too, because Melina, like one thing that always feared me whenever you did on TV was when you smacked the opponent, because that looked like I can hear that from like around the world. Like those slaps were for real, right? Like
no.
No? How did they choreograph that?
This is how you have to understand like the way I work. The way I work is I do what I was taught that is the most effective way. I go into the ring. I want to protect the people I'm with.
Right.
And take care of them, make sure, because their life is in my hands. So no matter what happens, regardless of the rumors of what people say, like, oh, I'm out to get somebody, never. There's a code in that. And that's, I'm not going to go out of this world the day I die. I'm going to know that I 100% made everything I did possible to take care of that other person. I mean, except for a moment like you, I mean, I've had to do that before where it's like, what the hell just happened here? Okay, the receipts are coming. That has to happen,
right?
But in the WWE ring, I never done it in there. And when it comes to something like that, you're taught certain ways of how like making a move look vicious without actually hurting somebody. So with the slap, art to it, you use your fingertips. You never, and it's either like mostly I try my best to get the neck, and that gets a good slap. If you use the palm, it doesn't get the sound isn't good. But they said
you made me test that.
And people go for the jaw. I see people, I'm like, why did she do that? She just went right to her jaw, and you could dislocate a person's jaw like that.
When I saw you give it that, there was only two people like in WWE that I saw that give the most devastating slaps. You and Stephanie McMahon.
It's because I think she's the one who told me you use the fingertips, and it's all in the sound. And you like loosen your hand and you whip it. It's like whipping a towel, and you get that.
Chris had a question too, and I want to make sure Chris asks his question. So, Chris, you had a question for the legendary ladies?
Think about.
So, I mean, what do you think it's actually done for like women's empowerment and agency? Because there's been a significant push for just like women in general. Like in the recent year, as that's pretty much led to the representation and opportunities for like women traditionally, well, in a traditionally like male-dominated industry such as this.
Mm-hmm.
And just by moving away from the matches that centered around the sexualized attire, we see like a WWE, I guess, sending a message of promoting women's athleticism, skill, and character development. would you say it was like it's something that attributed it in no small part thanks to Stephanie McMahon?
I honestly, I think it's a group effort. I want to say, yeah, that's great, but I also think the women in WWE are so like their own unique person. I don't think it could be just one person that did. You know, did she put some insight? Did she do something? Probably. Is she the face of WWE for women? In my opinion, she was. Yeah, but I think, you know, like when China came out, I feel like that just changed everything, you know. You know, they got away, you know, like with the divas. One thing that they said about Glow is, you know, they said that Glow opened the door for divas, you know, with all the costumes and the, you know, the farmers' daughters. And I'm glad they got away from all that. So I think Glow had its time. It was good. And now just to see how, you know, wrestling took, you know, changed and kind of took over, and you have, you know, just all different types of characters now. It's but I don't think it was just Stephanie. I would like to think, yeah, but I don't think so.
Each generation builds upon the last, and they could only go so far, you know. And that's what it breaks my heart, because a lot of women broke their backs, you know, trying to, I said, you know, what a lot, I'm so sorry. They do so much, and they could only go so far with what they're allowed to do. And then you build on that, and then you build on that, and you build on that until what you have today. And even today, I think there's a lot, but really, I guess when it comes to, say, the people in power that you're saying, and I think they give you guys give them a lot of credit. Part of me is like, well, you could do more. I mean, you've got the power to do more. We had one evolution. You gave the audience and the fans enough to shut up, but you didn't give them everything. Like, if you believed in your women, you would have that every year, but you don't. And that's the part where I'm like, damn. And there's so many women on the roster. They deserve, that should be their WrestleMania. Like, they deserve a WrestleMania too, but they deserve an all-women show to build up to, because there's so many of them, they still don't get enough time. They don't.
No,
not at all.
I mean,
no.
yeah, now we move to 3-hour Raws. I'm like, what? That's a lot of wrestling in one moment, and you still don't give the women enough. So, and there is a demand for it. There is, people want to see that. That's why a lot of indie shows, there's all women shows, and people go to it because there's a demand for it. So why not do it? You'll make it if it's about money.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But every generation has gone as far and did their best. There's only so much you can do in that locker room, and it's like it beats you down, and you keep to hold each other up and empower each other to say, let's keep on going. This is all worth something. That's what we had to tell each other in the locker room, that this is all going to be for something, because everybody was tired of like, this is like, I went to school, I did it for this for so many years, and this is what we're doing. And we had to keep each other, you know, motivated, saying, our time will come. And we had our little moments, but some of us don't get anything. We pour our hearts out, and not everybody gets a title, not everybody gets a pay-per-view, not everybody gets a WrestleMania. And you know, and you have to work and bust your butt for all the women who busted theirs.
Because they even had
the wrestling life is not easy either way, and you got to have a really thick skin to even be in this, because like you said, you know, you work hard, but you just might not get it.
That's why I love it.
Deal.
Even when I love you back.
And Darius, before you ask your question too, Darius, I just want to say to Melina, Roxy, like I actually had this conversation with Darius the other day, because he's a wrestler. I said, if I was a wrestler, Darius, like I wouldn't really focus on what my character was. I would focus on trying to enhance the person I'm working with, though. Like, for instance, if I was working with you, Melina, and I was doing, like, if I was in a storyline where, like, I'm with you, where, like, you guys, like, Eminem, like, as heels, take advantage of, like, me helping you out in your matches. And then once screw up, that's when I get shoved by either Joey or Johnny. And then you do this thing where, like, you try to pick me up in the floor, thinking that it's, like, you're on my side. But then as soon as you pick me up, that's when the slap comes and I walk right into a snapshot.
Oh.
Hey,
a wrestler.
I just love the storytelling of it though. Like I love to see like whether the crowd cheers so heavily, like they boo so heavily. And I told Darius as well that if we were doing like a word for word promo, like War of Words, like MJF and CM Punk, like yeah, I'd be saying the most heinous things on screen, but when we get to the back, I'd be the first one to say, dude, I'm so sorry. I did not mean anything I said. That's all horse shit. That's all storyline. You know that doesn't reflect on my real life personality.
Yeah, no, but that's what happens, Petey. That's what we do.
My only thing is like making sure the other person I'm working with doesn't reciprocate this and takes it personally.
Yeah,
Oh, of course.
I
Like
do
if
that.
if I was working with you, Roxy, if I was working with you, Melina, and you, Roxy, and I was supposed to say the most heinous things, I would be like, oh, please forgive me. That was not me saying that. Please forgive me.
No,
and I would have liked it. I would have liked it as long as it had character. I wouldn't have cared. Just go for it.
I would have turned full. Like,
Roxy, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people out there that take any little thing personally and they act like it's real when you know this is a work. And in their minds, it's like you're telling the truth. Like, what? No, this is wrestling.
I'm shocked how some of these people get away with, like MJF, like he gets away with saying the most heinous things. Like I remember he was in a feud with Brian Pillman Jr. and he says, "Hold on, let me go speak to the big man." Oh, what the hell? What am I doing? And he goes, looks at the play, goes, "Hey Pillman, you down there? We need to have a talk."
Oh my!
Like, how did he get away with that?
I've seen so many like little promos
It's wrestling.
talking about each other's dad there. I was like, this is awful. Didn't Christian do that?
Christian's doing it right now. Oh my, it's terrible and it's messed up, but how he's saying it is like, it's funny. He's like this. He goes up to Adam Copeland, Edge. He goes, "We all know that you grew up with a single mom, Adam. It's no secret also, Adam, that you grew up without a father." And he just started smiling. And you hear the whole crowd going, "Oh."
Yeah, I feel like WWE and WWF got away with a lot of that. Am I right, Melina?
Oh my goodness, the stuff they got away with in the 90s.
It went.
Oh, wait, but isn't this something that we're saying in AEW now?
No, it's both WWE and AEW that this is going on.
Okay.
But it doesn't compare to what WWE did.
Yeah.
Of course.
They're having sex with corpses and stuff, you know?
Yeah, that idea was entirely Vince Russo, I'm pretty sure.
No, that was
That
McMahon.
was horrible.
Oh, that was McMahon? I stand corrected. It was one of the
Russo wasn't even
Vinces.
with the company.
Yeah,
No,
he was long gone. Russo was long gone.
no, that's also coming from the man that wanted to be the father of his daughter's baby. I'm like, okay, this guy has got some problems. I'm just gonna walk away with this.
Yeah.
I'm not touching that.
No, I'm not touching. I'm like Peter Griffin. I'm like, well, it's time for me to hit the old dusty trail. But I'm sorry, Dad. Extra question.
Oh, well, actually, I just because I was hearing Melina talk about, just the opportunities for the women or the lack of, because I mean, at one point, the women were only having like 90-second matches, and even with this new Raw where they kind of adjusted it, because they had to go back to 2 hours. I mean, they had like a 10-woman tag match where they basically just threw all the women on Raw into just like one match and just kind of just rushed them out there in 2 minutes just to say, hey, we got them out there. And like, honestly, now I feel like the women even get treated better on, at least in the independent scene. Cause I'm here in Texas. We have, obviously have Reality of Wrestling, and we also have New Texas Pro, because that's where I have a lot of people that I train and have a lot of friends in there. And, intergender wrestling has actually become quite popular on the scene. And, my character itself is, I'm a
We're losing you.
lady fan.
Okay, it was just me.
You're cutting it out a little bit,
I thought
Derek.
it was me too. I thought my internet.
And character. So I'm after mine, like that's a great kind of, and kind of spotlight everybody.
Love intergender matches,
Oh.
but
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me, guys?
yeah,
A little bit better now, yeah.
I love intergender matches, but I like as long as especially women, you still have to learn to work with women, because some people get pissed off that you don't like flip girls around and everything and be a great base the way men are. And I'm sorry, I wish I had the strength of a man, but I don't. You know what I mean? I'm a good enough base. I'm a good base, but I'm not the one that like makes you go 15 feet up in the air. So that's different than working with girls. And you have to learn to adjust. To be a true worker, you need to know these things and be aware of that and adjust for every opponent, size, weight, gender. So as long as like people can adjust that and be realistic with that, and then also like I will play up, if I were to do an intergender thing, I will play up how my punch is not as big, like it's not going to be as impactful as one of you guys. It's not. So you got to dodge and weave and tell that story of like, man, if she gets knocked out, like that's the end of her, and that's the beauty of storytelling. And for me, it's like there's so many things in wrestling now. That's why I'm like, I can't, like, it's beyond me. Like, I'm too old for wrestling at this point, because I like the psychology of making it look real. And if you're kicking out
wrestling, tell that to Ric Flair.
players not even selling, I can't do that. Like, it's just, I feel like I'm shitting on wrestling if I participate.
I can understand that.
But I would ask you both to like Roxy and Melina too, like, because you both worked with two wrestlers that I've idolized ever since I was a kid. Roxy, you worked with Mount Fiji, Emily Dole. Melina, you had a program with the late great Eddie Guerrero. I was just curious to know, like, what was it like working with those respective names, like Emily Dole and Eddie Guerrero?
No.
Okay. With Emily, she was a good girl. She was amazing. Like just a really, really sweet soul. And I'll never forget though, she picked me up and did a body slam, and I got so freaked out. It was in training. I curled my back, which is a no-no, and she threw me down, and I refused to be body slammed after that because I was so intimidated by her when she was training and we were training with her, that just how big she was, it scared me. So I had a fear of that move. But she was really good with people, and she was just a really, really sweet person. And I got to see her at the very end, you know, that Petey, when she was in the hospital.
I actually have a video of her, but I want to hear what Melina wants to say with the late great Eddie Guerrero, and then we're gonna watch a 5-second video of like Emily. I just pulled up.
Oh, yeah, it was magic. I always tell everybody that's like probably it's kind of tough to have that be your first story to, like, you know, in WWE, because compared to it. And I've had a lot of great moments, but nothing like the magic that came from Eddie and his professionalism and the way he saw the psychology, like the way he saw wrestling. It was amazing to be around him, to watch him work, to hear him talk things over and create stuff. And just energy wise, it was like magic to me. And I feel very fortunate to have worked with him.
And there's a connection too between Glow and the Guerrero family, because as Roxy, you know this too, Mondo was the trainer for Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. Mondo came to my house for a Netflix viewing party. And Matilda was here with some of the Glow girls. So yeah, we got Mondo over here. It was great.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Here's the video. I was like, I'm gonna see if I can try to get it, but this was Emily. She was actually saying hi to me in this video. Let me pull it up.
Hi, Katie. This is your queen, Mount Fiji. I
Let's see
love
if I
you
can get it.
dearly. Sorry to let you, but so busy.
Can you hear it or
All
no?
the fans bombing me. Anyway, I love you dearly. Coming to New York, me and the Glow girls will come to see you. We're gonna come to your graduation. Don't worry about it. We're so busy. We love you. We love you. Love you.
I love Emily.
Love you.
Yeah, you know what? When we went to go visit her, it was just really sad to leave her. And when she says, she'd always say Glow wasn't about one girl. Everybody would say about Mount Fiji, they said Glow was about everybody. So she wanted to include everybody. She's very humble.
I miss her so much. And I'll say this too, Roxy, Melina, there was 3 wrestlers I cried when they died. Owen Hart was one of them, because I was 9 years old when I watched that, unfortunately, on pay-per-view. The other one was Eddie Guerrero, and the other one was Emily Dole, Mount Fiji.
Oh,
I did cry for Benoit, but then when I found out what happened, those tears went away.
Yeah, that was tough. That was a tough one in the wrestling world.
It hurt me so much because I actually met Benoit at a sign-in in 2001. I was 11 years old, and then 7 years later, that happened.
He was a good worker, but he did a bad thing on the way out.
No, and I still remember when I met him too. It was actually the day before the King of the Ring. It was actually June 22nd, I think, of 2001, where he was actually in the triple threat match between Austin and I believe Kurt Angle for the WWF title.
It was Chris Jericho. It
Jericho.
It was Stone Cold and Chris Jericho. Yeah.
Yep. I knew it was one of them.
Because it was like at that time, Benoit and Jericho, they were tag team champions actually.
That's right. And that's when Triple H had that quad injury, right? Oh, I, between that and the ACL, I don't know which gets like cooked.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
They,
They're horrible injuries.
Melina, they know a lot. I don't have any of this.
I guess we are what you would call smart marks.
Yes. Okay, good.
I want that memory. I want that, like, you know, to remember stuff.
Yeah, like ask me, and like I don't know. You tell me.
I will say this too. Like, there was one wrestler I recently watched on WWE that I haven't seen such great facial expressions since Melina. And when I get to that, when I get to this, I just want to say I loved your performance again, Melina. I said this numerous times, how you always had such great scenes in wrestling. You had that hostage scene when you tied up Trish Stratus with Eminem in the back, and your facial expressions. I was like, my goodness, if this woman could kill, she would be an Uzi shotgun bang.
Goodness, I love that thing, like that scene so much. Except for one thing that drives me nuts. Every time I watch, I cringe. I hate myself for. I hate the slap of the leg. When people throw like kicks and they slap their leg, I hate it. And I did.
Me too.
And every time I watch myself do that, I'm like, ugh, why'd you do that, Melina?
But when you kicked
Because you can just tell.
when you kicked Trish Stratus in the tail, as soon as the commercial cut, we like, Trish, you okay? You okay? Oh, that was such a great scene.
He's okay.
But there's a wrestler in WWE named Karrion Kross, and his facial expressions are just wonderful. Like, he was like, there was a match between R-Truth and The Miz, and Truth won, and he's celebrating, and then he's going like this, like Karrion Kross and his group. I think they're called the Final Testament. Is that what they call Darius? The Final?
Yeah.
Okay.
With
And,
AOP? Yeah.
and they're mocking him. They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then as soon as R-Truth's back, he turns, he goes like this, get him right now, get him right now. I was like, I've never seen someone turn a 180 that fast. That was such great acting.
Good. That's what I love about like watching TV. Like when it comes to TV series or movies, facial expressions are everything. You can look at a person in their eyes and fears them, love them, hate them, like wonder what the hell is going on. Like it's all in a look. And you master that art along with everything else in the face. Like you don't even need to say much. You could just that facial reaction tell everything.
Yeah.
Oh, you just killed that. You were just rocking that scene. I just remember even like the facial expression, the way you just moving your head like this, like the way you were going super fast, like, you know, trying to intimidate Trish. It was just such great storytelling.
But that's why I got so much TV time. Like in the in-betweens when they're trying to like kill time, they always put the camera to me. And I wasn't talking, I wasn't wrestling. It was just because of the facial expressions continuing the story.
Wow, just from your face.
I would also talk trash, like mouth it to people and everything as like in between, and then
You were having fun.
I gotta ask you this too, Melina, because when I had I didn't interview, but when I had a phone call with another Glow girl named BC, she talked about how in battle royals, whenever they go into a headlock, they will all be like, "Hey, you want to go see a movie after this?" Or they would have like conversations in the match. Did you ever have that in a battle royal where you're like, "Hey, you want to go out after this match?" Or like, "Hey, like, what do you want to do after this?"
No, it was more like, are we gonna stay here in this corner? Has somebody so done their move yet? Like, oh, I want to switch it up. Let's switch it up, because it just seemed to drag on. Like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of like all those battle royals, because it's just about like, okay, how do we kill time without making it look fake, but then not getting into somebody else's space? And then you give up and you just like, okay, I just stay in the corner throwing punches.
Yeah.
But I don't. It drives me crazy.
I don't like battle royals. I just kind of thought, you know, because with Glow, we had our little spots, and we would be talking like, "Hey, you going out tonight? Yeah, we're gonna go to Tramps. Are you going?" And we would just have conversations, kind of laugh. We're being filmed live, and it's like I was part of the strip match with Hollywood, and the funny story on that was, back then I only had like nylons underneath my pants, and I'm whispering to it was a big battle royal, but it was with a strip match, and she was trying to take off my pants, and I'm telling Hollywood, I'm like, I don't have any underwear on underneath this. I'm like, keep them on. and she's ripping even harder. So I'm curious on. I'm like, Hollywood, this is serious. Do you remember the pantyhose called Legs?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
Yeah, like
and the more I did it, and I'm like, her and I are like kind of fighting in there because I'm just like, no, the pants have got to stay on. So I try to get out early. So anything can happen when you're not planned for it, but I like moments like that. I don't know if WWE was more planned in your battle royals. Were you?
Mostly just like whatever somebody's doing at the moment. Everybody else, like, you just kill time.
Yeah.
But you have to pay attention to what everybody's spot is, then that moves over, and then so I don't know how they do it now, but that's the way it was then. So it's like, okay, do your thing, so and so does this, then this, and you're aware of what the camera's going to be recording.
Right.
it's like a form of improv theater, if you will.
It is.
It needs to be. They cut your time, and then you have to like go readjust, cut things out, and readjust everything, and or give you extra time. And you can't plan things out if you get your time cut or get it extended, because then you lose. Like, what do I do now? So, know how to improv.
Another one before we're gonna wrap up soon. We just have a couple more questions before we wrap up too. And I just want to say, Melina, I absolutely love the segment you did with John Heidenreich, where you're like, everyone knows the sweetest candy here is M&Ms, and he said that while he's eating a giant Hershey bar in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
How dare you, Hershey?
Oh, that was so great.
You get
One of the final questions I had for you, and then we're gonna hear from Chris and Darius, and they're gonna say their final comments and questions. Is I want to actually both this too, and that is I'm gonna have fun with this question too. Whenever I'm not on a huge military-like diet, which by that I mean I don't would not eat anything until dinner time. I am an absolute foodie, and you both work with such huge wrestling promotion, and I know there was a big catering scene there. So I was just curious to know, what was the catering scene like in your respective promotions, and what was your favorite meal in catering?
Well, mine will be quick because there was no catering.
no.
We had no catering. It was like we were done. Go to the Riviera buffet.
Ooh.
That was it. No catering.
That's a good one though.
That's all.
At least you got the buffet.
We
Like
got
we bring, and yeah, you know what? WWE had like some good, like they had good food. But the thing is like like for me as a female and an athlete trying to look trim, I went for the salads. It's not my favorite, but I did that. And plus I don't want to eat a lot, because if you run around and have nerves on top of that, I feel like puking. So, I try not to stay away, and then I eat afterwards if there's anything left. But usually the guys eat everything, and then there's nothing left. So
I'll tell you a funny story that that Rico told me. Rico Constantino, who's actually a very good friend of mine. I actually saw him in Vegas when I was in Las Vegas for a thing. That's where I got to see Miss Roxy Astor for the first time in years. A long time. And he told me a really funny story about what Ultimate Warrior used to do. He told me that he would take a cookie, crumble it up, and smell it, saying, "I can't have it, but I'm going to enjoy the aroma of it."
well,
I do that now. So
but there are people who do that. There are people who like chew it and then spit it out.
Yeah.
There's people who do stuff like that. And you know what? Whatever makes you happy, that makes you think like, it's understandable.
yeah.
But understandable.
Doesn't that border on a like eating disorder or something like that?
No, if we're going to talk about eating
so many different kinds of eating disorders.
No,
Yeah.
if we're going to talk about eating disorders, let's talk about the horrible catering in the 90s that Jim Cornette described as horrible. Like with Vince, he told I love Jim Cornette. I love his podcast. He said this very funny story about like, what was Vince McMahon eating? What was like Vince McMahon's diet like? And he said Vince always ate healthy. He had a steak he would always eat, his capers, etc. Then he said in the catering in the 90s of WWF, their catering consisted of what he called blandless, tasteless grilled chicken with dry pasta with a cup of side of Parmesan cheese. And then the pasta's so dry that when you put a fork in it, it all comes out in one part. That's Jim Cornette saying this.
It made sense because of the bodybuilder lifestyle type of deal. That was the interesting thing of what I saw when I watched when I saw catering. It's like everybody's like really like their bodybuilder style. Like everybody's about being in the gym. They need all their protein and all this stuff. What are they going to do with all this high calorie pasta and everything? Like that's too carb heavy.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't know where Chris went. We must have lost the signal. But before we wrap up, though, I'm going to say, Darius, do you have any final comments or questions for Miss Perez or Miss Astor?
Yes, I actually have both of you combined. Right now I'm kind of in my training. I'm in advanced classes. I mean, what type of advice would you offer? Because right now we're really heavily working on now is more psychology, more than just the moves, more of why you're doing in moves, and how you said earlier about facial expressions. Because that was one thing that I was kept getting criticized and commented for, was that when I was having my practice matches, they said like my face wasn't showing enough emotion and I wasn't showing enough intensity during my matches. There were certain points during my training match when I was, but they said like you kind of needed to pick up a little bit of more of the intensity because it feels like you're kind of just walking through it. And I was just asking both of you if you have any kind of advice and just anything I can do to just improve myself.
Ooh. I think when it comes to like talking to yourself, facial wise, think of the thoughts in your head. Somebody hits you, because this is the way I feel. Because I used to, my dad was a boxer, so I'd spar with him, and I was horrible at keeping my guard up. So I'd always drop it, and then he'd tag me in the face, and he's like, "Keep your guard up." And whenever I feel something on my face, it's that I'm more mad at myself. Of course, I'm not going to get mad at my dad. He's trying to teach me, but I would get so angry, and it'd stop, and it's like, all right, no, not next time. Like it's these thoughts that I had in my head that comes out in my facial expressions. So when you get hit, think like, did you just hit me? Like those words create the facial expression and the timing. So think these thoughts, like somebody hits you for reals. What do you feel? And think about that when you're having those reactions. It comes naturally. Oh, like, I'm gonna get it this time, you know?
Especially if you make me look stupid. Oh yeah.
You only get one. You only get one. Lucky shot. But but this next one, it's all me. Like you think these thoughts and then it'll come out. I mean,
okay, sorry about that. My network's down.
It's okay.
And on mine, I was told that I made the face because whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm doing, it does go through my eyes, through my face. I can't help it. I do it to this day. It's who I am. It's a part of me. So I brought that into the ring. Melina, you've seen me before. My face will show everything. And to me, like even watching AJ, the way I used to love watching AJ wrestle, and her eyes and her face, and
AJ Lee
connected with the audience, and even with the moves. I love how her moves, and I was the same way. I follow through with everything. Just don't leave it hanging. I would just follow through like I was going through the Matrix. You know, it was it's just it's important to like you said, Melina, to feel it, and then the audience will feel it, and then you work off the audience, you know, because we were just basically just thrown into a ring and here you go. I never wrestled before, so I didn't take acting or anything. So what you see with Roxy was really me. That was me.
That was really, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of AJ Lee, I actually recall that last year she was a color commentator for WOW.
Yeah.
And yeah. Would you say that it could easily be considered the successor or spiritual successor to Glow?
Are you talking about WoW in general?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously David McLean, you know, he started Glow with Matt Simber, and then he opened up WoW. So yeah, I mean, it has to be, but I just, you know, I guess I have a hard time with it because I feel like Glow was in its time. It's actually kind of fun to watch and to go to their shows. But I'm not like, you know me, Melina, I saw UWW and I actually I loved it. I loved the wrestling, the hardcoreness of it. It was with WoW, I wasn't as excited as everybody else was. Yeah. And, you know, it just felt like Glow, but I don't feel like Glow would have made it, you know, like later on. You know, I felt like Glow was good for where it was at. And WoW has its place, and that's because it's David McLean who was with Glow. So, and I see some of the names from Glow showing up in WoW. I see that. So that's your storylines, Melina. That's your storyline. So that's probably something that you would like.
I love storylines.
Yeah, they're all storylines.
Well, speaking of storylines, and we're going to get to Chris's final question and comment too. I just have one quickie question for both of you too, and that is the raw emotion question, which both you ladies are masters of when it comes to acting. I just want to put you in a scenario, and I want to get your opinion on this too. Say if you had to be in a wrestling program with a said person, and I'll use me an example, or Darius. It could be one of us, where like we come up to you and say, "Hey, Melina, hey," we say, "Hey, Miss Astor, hey, Miss Perez," and we say that because we have so much respect for you in the whole wide world. We come up to you and say, "We have an idea how we can enhance this. That way, we can not only tell a story and make the audience believe this, but that way we can add more value to this, like make it believable, so that way that this doesn't feel like a script in which you can lambaste me so hard that you can make me cry in frustration or make me cry in total frustration." If you were approached with this type of method by a said wrestler, what would your reaction be, and what would you say to that person?
Well, I would suggest like, okay, what are your ideas? And let me help you come up with other things that you could say based off of that. Because people are trying to gauge like, okay, how far can I take it? What can I say? But I don't want to say that because I don't believe it. But I mean, depending on how it goes, like say people will say stuff, and I know people are going to say stuff. It's happened since the beginning of time. Before it was that I'm a rookie and that I'm ugly and fat, I'm a bitch, like typical like chick stuff where that's what every woman gets called. It's just so not special. Like, I'm sorry, if you call a woman a bitch, I'm like, that's so uncreative. Really try to hurt me. Really, like really try. Like something that's deep down inside. Like say something about my parents. Say something. I dare you to say something about the family or anything personal. And then okay, all right, that's something different. But it nowadays people will say my weight or my age and all that stuff, and I'm prepared for all of it. I'm like, you know what, go ahead, say it. And then I have comebacks for it because I already thought of it. I thought of all of this stuff already, so come on, bring it. Bring it.
Well, if I was a wrestler, I would tell you in like right before we go out there what exactly I'm gonna say, because so that way you wouldn't get caught off guard. So that way I didn't have any surprises there.
That's professional though. That's professional.
But what if we didn't like what you said? Would you pull back?
I would go to the back and be very apologetic about it. Yeah.
See, I wouldn't want you to. But that's me.
Well, because you know what, I don't want the person taking liberties if they get upset. Like if we have
you don't like that? Oh, you don't like it? Cut a better promo.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Forgot that. I'd be fired up for that. So bring it on. I'll bring it.
I'd be like, Melina, like just talk about like if you had to cut someone from M&M, just go on net TV next week and cut this scathing promo saying we had to get rid of the dead wood, the weakest link, and that's why we had to eliminate such and such. You were a weakling and you were nothing to us. You were not vital, you were not essential, you were just there. That type of thing.
That's wrestling.
But then at the same time, say if it's going to be for a championship match, okay, championship, title belt, championship belt, I agree with all that. Strap, I'm like, I see why they don't do that, because it doesn't show the pristine and the value of it. Calling it a title and a championship makes it more valuable, but it's still a belt. Like, you can't get angry about that. But when you're cutting a promo, you have to build the person up, because if that person beats you and you just cut them down, well, you just got beat by nothing. So there's an art to a promo too, where you build them up and you praise them, but then you cut them down, and then kind of, it's like one of those compliment sandwiches. There's an art to it, so that you build the storyline and that person that you're working with, so that if you beat them, you beat somebody, and if you lost, that means somebody really incredible beat you, but you have the opportunity to come back and beat them again.
Yeah, because if they have nothing in them and like you've already beaten them down, what's the fun in that?
Right? What's like Melina said, you got to be very
not for me. Yeah, build them up and tear them down. That's
build them up and tear them down.
It's like you said, Melina, you got to be creative with like things. For instance, like you said, if it's a title match, you could say how the champion, if you're a heel and you're the champion, you could say you can never win the big one. It's proven track record by prior knowledge, so you can never win the big one, whether it's Survivor Series, WrestleMania. You could cut like a heelish promo saying you can never win the big one.
Which is the big one?
Like a main event match at one of the 4 biggest pay-per-views: WrestleMania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam. Oh,
And-
Well,
and
it's because I never had
what-
the opportunity to. But I've never done a main event match.
and what if you said, okay, then what? There's nothing to work on.
no, but you could easily say, Roxy, I learned this from Triple H. You could say, and I learned this from actually when JBL and Triple H had this thing at WrestleMania. You say, you know what, a champion, you were a champion 10 times, but you lost it 9 times. Like that's been a slide comment.
Gotta get creative with words. There's all, like Melina said, there's a whole art to it. And it's something you just get better and better with.
Oh, that's why I love 2005 and I love wrestling, because Melina, you just made that entertaining, and so did Davari when he was going on his rant with Muhammad Hassan and he was like yelling at the people. I thought that was great stuff.
that was great.
2005.
Davara's good. Yeah, Davara's good.
Was
There's
that-
so many characters. There's so many characters that I think like, oh, if only they had proper like storylines and they could have done so much and they could have gone somewhere and been bigger. There's so many characters that they were great wrestlers and they were on their way and then they got taken out and set back somehow for whatever reason. Like
Nick Dinsmore.
all of this is such a shame.
Would you say Nick Dinsmore would be an example? Because I'm actually good friends with Nick Dinsmore, Eugene. Like how he's such an excellent wrestler, but then they gave him this gimmick like Eugene.
Yeah, and it's not his fault, because when they give you an opportunity, it's like when Jillian got her mole. She got a mole on the side of her cheek.
And Marty ate it.
Oh,
And- yeah,
God.
Yes.
but what
Yeah,
do you do?
Boogeyman.
You can't tell them no, because you could potentially get fired, or who knows what'll happen. So you say yes. You want to be a team player, and then you get stuck with this character, and then what do you do with that? And that's a difficult decision to make.
It
Like-
is.
That's what happened with Adam Rose. They gave him that really cool character where everybody came out and partied with him, and then they kept changing his character, and then he was out. And I'm like, I had so much fun watching him. I don't understand that you get caught up in the characters. And that's the thing about Glow. Glow was its characters all the way through. WWE, I see too much changing of the characters, like the Wyatt family. I love that whole thing.
That's great.
I-
Me too.
I love the Wyatt family.
They came out with their phones and all that, and just the build up, and then it was gone. It was gone. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, what are they thinking?
Or they would just have Bray lose all the time.
That's a creative mind. I love Bray Wyatt. It's like he was such a creative man. Wyndham Rotundo. And you know what? Even his father too. I love the IRS gimmick that his father did. It was just, I just love the family. Like they're all just very talented. And that's a thing too I loved about 2005, Melina, how there was such great storytelling. I mean, you had the Boogeyman character, you had Eminem, you had the SmackDown versus Raw with Eric Bischoff and Teddy Long. It was like so much great stuff was happening in 2005. That was a great year to be a wrestling fan.
Oh, that's good
Yes,
to
it was. Yes, it was.
You get so busy in the moment, like where do we go? Gotta drive, gotta do this. Am I doing good? And it's like so much stress and like so much to do and think about and worry about and everything, that you don't really realize what's really happening. How do people really react? What do they really feel? How is it like? How was the storylines like? Now after the fact, now I can look back and think, wow, like
Yeah.
everybody's doing such a good job. I miss everybody.
And I will say this too: the person who should not be named. Roxy, you mentioned before, like how like there's certain things, and also Melina mentions too, like if you don't agree to it, you get fired. Though that's a very similar case, and Lita has gone on record to say this too about like how she was forced into doing something with Edge that I'm not going to discuss here, and that Vince actually said if you don't go out to the ring and do what like that live said celebration, and I don't have to say that here because everyone knows what that was, that live celebration, then you're fired. That's pretty much what Lita said, that Vince threatened to fire her if she didn't do that thing with Adam in the ring.
That's why I always tell people think like, oh, it never gets personal, because it's my dream as a wrestler, because I was a naive kid. I watched wrestling. I loved it. I'm like, oh, wow. They were my superheroes. They were comic book heroes, real life.
Yeah.
And then I was in it. I realized, wait, I don't understand. Like, I was very naive. I didn't understand that world, or probably the world. But when I realized that personal stuff was happening, like getting involved in storylines, and it's a hard thing to do psychologically, be sane or be okay. It stresses you out and it hurts you psychologically when the lines blur of real life and this, and in a sense that's abuse. And
Wow.
But you don't know how this is part of what we do. This is what's happening. This is what we're groomed to be okay with. and you just go along with it. And
But
that's
in Glow, we didn't have that, which was good. I don't know how you guys dealt with that. Like, we were our character. We didn't, nothing personal came in, but with you, I mean, I don't know how you did that. I just don't, because I would have a really hard time. I would be very defiant against it. I'd probably walk out.
You folks didn't have the toxic leaderships. That's the major difference.
Yeah, well, yeah, we did, kind of.
Like in what way?
That's a whole show.
But I just stayed quiet, and I just I just try to focus on why I'm here. And if I ever had anything like hard to say, I think that's why a lot of people didn't like me either. I was very introverted and stayed quiet, so I didn't talk. So it's like, that girl, she's like so stuck up, or I don't know. A lot of people thought it was just I was weird, stuck up, or something because I didn't talk, but I was too afraid to. It's just no matter what I did, I said, did, looked, dressed wrong all the time. So there was like the good thing I had the Eminem. Eminem was my, saving grace until it wasn't. And that's when like the depression started coming in and being alone. But then my family would tell me, this is your dream. This is what you wanted. You fought so hard for it. And then I try to tell myself, yeah, this is my dream. And then you start talking to girls, and then we start getting on the same page, and finally it starts clicking. And then, at least there's some sort of sanity. Like, it's crazy, but at least we're going through the crazy together and we're not alone in it.
Yeah, that's it.
We're gonna hear from Chris Patty's final question and comment too. I just want to say, ladies, that I've always, like, ever since, like, from the beginning, from your careers, I've always followed your careers. In fact, Melina, I actually said, I'm trying to remember what I said. I said something that was like really cool. Like, I remember too, like how, like, you're one of the strongest, oh, that's what I remember too. You were the first ever female heel I never booed, though. Like, that was like, you were the first one. Like, I booed, like, as a kid, I booed Stephanie McMahon. No, and I actually said there were two heels. The first time I never booed a heel ever. And that was when I watched you, and as I watched Ken Anderson.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't boo me. Okay,
no,
yeah.
I didn't boo you because I was a huge fan of yours. Because you had that style. Like, I love the style you did when you did that thing with your hands.
The screaming, like, who doesn't cheer for their people? I'm gonna scream.
Yeah.
Cheer for my guys.
I would encourage that. I was like, you gotta do more of that tribal yell, Miss Perez. Let them hear that. And you took part in one of my favorite scenes ever, and Darius's favorite scene too, with Shawn Michaels, where it's like,
Oh, that's what I really hope for a lot of women to have, like, nowadays, because I was very fortunate. Like, I really think part hard work and part force jumping my way through stuff, because thank goodness I had these experiences with people, because a lot of women didn't get that opportunity or haven't even to this day. So I've been very lucky in my short amount of time. And I hope that other women, can have at least a little bit that experience of working with somebody who just makes you feel that this is why I got into wrestling. Every wrestler deserves that experience for at least one moment. And I really hope for every wrestler out there.
I think even in the indies, you can actually get that moment though too. It doesn't have to be on WWE, because I love going to the indie shows. I support them, and I love watching. They do stuff I would not even attempt, and I'm like blown away by what I see out here in California.
Yes, I'm so proud of our Callies now.
So nice.
Chris, your final comment or questions for Miss Perez and Miss Astor?
So, apart from the, I guess, inquiry I heard earlier about women's agency in wrestling, as well as like the overall team effort, rather than just Stephanie McMahon alone, that helped out with like the drift away from, I guess, the objectivity that was commonplace in the Attitude Era, I suppose there are like 4 more arguments that can actually be made about it. And so first off, we look at the evolution of cultural norms, because over time, the societal attitudes towards women's bodies and their sexuality have evolved, and there's been just a growing recognition that objectifying women and reducing them into their physical appearance just isn't conducive into gender equality and respect. And this shift pretty much influenced the various industries, including professional wrestling. And yeah, you would probably still see it on Jerry Springer at the time, but Jerry Springer's Jerry Springer. And yeah, that's where Vince Russo got his inspiration for like much of the material he had for the Attitude Era. So take with that what you will.
But when you're watching Jerry, at least you know what you're getting.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like nothing much has really changed. I mean, I wore pants and everybody's wearing like booty shorts. They're wearing less than I did. So has things changed? Are they really representing in a way where it's like, oh yeah, more seriously? I mean, the athleticism is there, the wrestling work is there, but people, you watch people's Instagram, and I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying like, oh, that's wrong. I'm just saying, why are we like, like there were girls back in the day, and we say, oh, they're divas and they're like this and this and that, when nobody's any better than back then. You're still putting all of this, like, you're in your underwear on Instagram and everything. Oh, that may not be a bra and panties match, but you're having a whole photo shoot in your underwear and doing all this other stuff. So what exactly is women empowerment? There's different
Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
There's teaching women that you should be secure with your bodies. Like, that's fine. And sexuality is fine. Sensuality, I believe, is more, I like sensuality more than sexual, like teaching people that, you know, to be just free and be like movement of body and form. Beautiful. But I think like to be able to, because the reason why they put like the bra and panties matches and certain things with women is because when people are changing the channels, that's where people stop. And that's where ratings happen. So if people are stopping, is it the writer's fault? Is it WWE's fault or any of the TV networks? Is it our fault for doing it if people are stopping to watch? And that's the conundrum that we're stuck in. And I think that's why there's that plateau, this like we're stuck at a level of not furthering it to a different, like what it could be.
Well, that's why I think with Glow, it was so popular because you had like the Matilda the Hun that was over 250. You had Melina, who was like 4'10". You had, there was people, women that didn't look that cookie cutter look of that diva look. And you had the girls in the booty shorts, and you had Mount Fiji.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people identified with, you know, with somebody, and you know, big girls, little girls, all shapes, sizes, colors, everything. And that's what I loved about Glow, is that everything worked. And so I was hoping, you know, that it would evolve and change, but that's why I'm saying it I don't think it has. You know, you have, you know, like Nia Jax, who I absolutely adore. And, you know, and I saw her when she was out of WWE, then she went to AEW and came back. And I was upset when they would put her in the worst outfits. I'm like, you know, no, we don't want to see, you know, everybody in booty shorts. But no, I mean, like, she's a strong, empowering woman. I'm just like, why are they putting her in this? You know, I don't know if you got to pick out what you wore. If you did you have plenty of outfits?
Yeah, thank goodness.
And yeah, and then you probably didn't feel good, did you? With
I felt like I wore pants. I wore pants because I would be. This is another thing that I hate about wrestling. That even with guys and stuff, you're wearing these outfits. Either tape them up or stop picking the wedgie. And when I pick wedgie, it's just like because it's uncomfortable and your mind is thinking about it. So you can't focus on the match. And when I watch matches and I see that about myself or anybody, it bothers me because it's like you're winning the title. Why are you thinking about your outfit right now?
Right.
So that's why I stuck with pants, because for me it was more comfortable. People took me more seriously because I went from a manager to a wrestler, and to get people to stop thinking like, oh, I want to see her do the splits in a little shorts.
Okay, wait. So you had a choice. You had a choice to wear pants.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have that choice. I mean, my outfit was so thin. When they brought it out to me, I cried because there was nothing there. It was so little, and I didn't want.
And the air conditioning started going.
Yeah, rating. Yeah, and then they would take they would take the shots when I'm on the turnbuckle and grab that ass shot like that. Oh my
But do you look back and you're like, but at least I look good.
yeah, Roxy. My kids love it.
Oh my.
Yes.
I just got a notification that we have 10 minutes left on the Zoom thing though. Because that's the timer going off soon in 10 minutes. I just want to say also, Melina, like, because
Oh, well,
I've been
I mean, I still had more to go on.
I know. I just want to go ahead and then I'll continue.
He's like,
Sorry about that. Just because of 10 minutes. We only have 10 minutes before it shuts off.
So, second bullet point I wanted to come to was like the changing expectations, because the demands and expectations of like WWE's fan base had also like played a role in the shaping of the company's approach to like female performers, as fans have become just more vocal about wanting to see women wrestlers like treated with respect and given meaningful storylines. WWE pretty much had to respond by prioritizing the athletic abilities and storytelling respects of its female talent. And yeah, maybe it wasn't really like to the extent of Glow, but it was also, I guess they were like starting to just give them more time and give them, I guess, something that they could really work with. At least that's how I was observing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess the third thing would also be like a corporate responsibility and public image, and because in the era of increased social responsibility, companies like WWE had to be aware of the potential backlash that they could face for perpetuating harmful stereotypes or engaging in exploitative practices. By moving away from mud wrestling and bra and panties matches, WWE was aligning itself with a more inclusive and respectful values, albeit it's pander to their sponsors.
That's about money. It's not about like morality and the ethics of people. It's about money. So I mean, they're business. They're business. But that's why
Pander to their sponsors.
Like they stopped women interacting with men because that's domestic abuse, and we don't want to teach kids that you should like men should be hitting women. So they also did that too.
I understand that.
Yeah, I guess the mixed gender matches were just like taboo in that regard. So yeah, that's also kind of like why they moved away from that. And yeah, it was also just to enhance the public image and appeal just to the broader audience, because eventually, after the ruthless aggression era, you had the PG era.
Yeah.
And just making sure that the kids were, I guess, getting something that they weren't going to be too harmfully influenced by because of the fragile little minds.
Oh, but you know, you could tell you could have a PG storyline and still like push the envelope. You know what I mean? You like everybody watch I always say Supernatural, because every time I watch that TV series,
Love it.
I'm like, is this show PG? And you know, it's PG, but they pushed it. They the way they worded things, and it's like they played with that line, like close to it, but didn't cross it. And that was so beautiful. I love that. That I think.
Wait, which brother did you like? Which brother?
Oh my goodness,
The older, younger?
both, but it's because the older one was in Dark Angel, so I followed. Oh, but then the other one was in what's her name, the mom and sister daughter show.
Allison Janney.
No, it's one back in like early 2000s.
Oh, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls.
Because the was in Gilmore Girls, so I love both of them.
Yeah, me too.
But the older one, I was just like, man, can you like your voice isn't that deep? Come on, like why?
I love Gilmore.
Like Batman all of a sudden, like come on, no. Yeah, just be you. But he's hilarious. That guy is hilarious.
Yeah, good.
That's a good brother though.
But circling back to my fourth point, though, we also have to look at the like long-term sustainability, because that's worth considering. And since the product and its brand had just needed to focus on the character development, the athleticism, storytelling, and WWE had to create, I guess, a more engaging and compelling narratives that resonated with the wider range of viewers. This shift was just to help attract new fans and keep existing ones invested in the product, ultimately contributing to the longevity of the company itself. And yeah, I guess also just different stakeholders and perspectives. It could be additional factors to consider.
Is that a question?
Yeah.
Not a question, just a statement, and just like my thoughts on why they like it was just like moving away from the lewdness of the Attitude Era.
You know what? The way you explain things and the way you talk is just so. I'm just like, oh, wrestling, yeah, this, that, good girl, bad girl. I'm just like, I'm so lost. But you got it. You got some good insight. Good insight.
But at the same time, if you had good storytelling, like, would that even be a factor? Like, say if there was a good storylines, it's all the way the way you look at somebody, the way you size them up and all this stuff. Are you looking at them with sexual eyes or all this stuff? It's how you tell the story. And when it came to the girls on How We Wrestle and everything, we did an incredible job. And if anything, I feel like the hair pulling, I like that. I always tell people I like that for the fact that if you watch YouTube and you see people fighting for reals,
That hair. Yeah.
Dirty. I like real fights. I don't like that when they get too pretty and they get too dancey. I'm just gonna jab you in the eye or throat and then end you. Like, come on. Like, seriously, it all has to be like, I just did a flip. Good for you.
Yeah. I guess it's because some of them are wearing wigs and they don't need them snatched. So
and that's what it's for, to take it right off.
Yeah.
And then everybody
Melina, you're like, all right, then I'm gonna hit you for real after you do that pose. It's like, you're gonna do that, okay, then I'm gonna hit you for real.
I used to wrestle with Godiva, and we had like this really good hair pulling thing going on. But she had this long, beautiful hair that I could just kind of wrap her hair around it and just use it as a weapon. And I'd choke her. It was great. I think I'm jealous of her hair. That was it.
Roxy, I told you this too. Like, when I was 18, I was a fan of Glow since I was 16. When I did this thing with my cousin where he took like a handheld camera and I would like film like these kayfabe promos, like challenging Matilda to come out of retirement and challenge someone to a real fight, like saying like, you think you're bad, you think you're 6'4", you think you're tough because you're 6'4", etc. Like that. How about I challenge you to come out of the retirement, come out of the ring, and challenge me? Let's have a David versus Goliath match. And didn't amount to anything, but I know for a fact she would have snapped me in half like a fucking twig. But I just thought it would be fun for storytelling.
Petey, she just stomped you, okay? Just so
I know that, but you know, it's like Eric Bischoff said about Vince. He said, "True, I did call out Vince, but I know I was gonna kick my ass, but I'm gonna call him out." Like, yeah. I'm gonna call out Matilda Hun, but granted, I know I'm gonna get my ass kicked, but I'm gonna call her out just to tell a story.
Yeah, she would have appreciated that. She turned everybody into little peons. So
yes, Roxy, it's very comparable to like in the Simpson episode when they're in the woods and this guy goes, "A bear. Let me show you how many bears there are out here." Hello, bears. Come on, have a dollar. Oh, what the heck? Have me. Come and get it. That's like my mentality. Like, if I was doing that, I know I'm gonna get my ass kicked, but you know what? It's worth it. I'm the type of person, like, I would tell you, Roxy, Melina, like if we were doing a storyline where I had this like innocent friendship with you, and I'm a babyface and you're like the heel pretending to be my friend, like that storyline, I'd be like the one, like, let's do a storyline where we go to like a Barry Manilow concert, right? And he calls out like thing, and I'm the only guy in the concert, and like you say, all right, for this next song, I need help from a lady. Roxy, you say Roxy or Melina, and it's like, no, it has to be 2 syllables, and I go, Petey, and he goes, that's exotic, come up here. And then he starts singing Mandy. He goes, oh, Petey, when you came and you gave, when I'll take. And I'll be like, I would never take from you, Barry. I would be that guy that would be like this. Petey, I would never take from you, Barry.
You can write my next storyline, okay? But I think I need to do a match because I need to pull your hair.
Okay, just for shits and giggles, you can do that. And for shits and giggles, I will go out there and be more ladylike than you ladies. And my fiance will be like, God damn it, what did I see in you? And I'm like, hon, you know this is great material. You know it. Before we wrap up though, this is a part of the show, ladies. I have an open forum, and I just want to say too, Melina, like in the future, I would love to do like an episode, like a solo show with you, because there's so much to showcase with you, put you over big time in wrestling terms, because I just would love to do like a solo show with you, because there's so much I want to cover on your career, not just WWE, but NWA as well, because I followed your NWA career as well, like Tough Enough, WWE, Independence, NWA, you're just a natural.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
My final question for you, legendary ladies, is what's next for Melina Perez and what's next for Roxy Astor? Now, this is the part, ladies. My show is an open forum. You can talk about anything you want. I am passing the proverbial microphone onto you. The floor is yours now, Miss Perez and Miss Astor.
Okay, so who grabs it first?
You want to do a birthday?
Crazy.
Okay. So, right now I'm all about rescuing animals. That is my love, my number one love. I'm actually part of a rescue right now. So behind the scenes, you don't really see what I'm doing, but I am saving dogs every week that are red listed. That is something that brings me so much more joy than anything out there in the world right now. So we're a kitten right now. We're pulling a dog out next week. I mean, it's all about the animals for me. And doing the Matilda the Hun, the raw meat. I did the play for 3 days, and bringing that back to the Fringe Festival. So Melina, you have to go to it.
Yeah, please.
Please tell the real story about Matilda. I'll give you the info. So
Yes.
we're going to at the Fringe Festival and just keep going with that. And we want to eventually, Dave Navarro, a friend of mine who worked on Lucha Underground, he's actually written half of a movie of Matilda the Hun, and it's about her book. So we're getting Matilda the Hun out there. And you've read that book, Petey. I know it.
I did. Oh, I love the book. It was a great read. Like the story, it was great. The story she told about like Emily and like Glow, just like acting, it was great.
So yeah, we're gonna just do some Matilda the Hun project. So.
Oh my goodness, I love that. I want to go to one of the rescues too to help out.
Okay. I do a pet pantry with Godiva every month where we actually feed the animals because she works at OC Animal Care. So we give away food and to people who keep their pets in their home. So that was my frenemy back in Glow.
I love that. And see, now you're like besties.
Yep. It's about the dogs. Nothing. I really can't stand her. So, you know.
About the dogs.
About the dogs. I got your number though, Melina, so I'll let you know, okay?
Yes, please. Please.
I'm gonna sound like Helen Lovejoy when I say, "Won't somebody please think of the dogs?"
Yeah.
I got 5.
I have 2 turtles. I can relate with the pets thing.
No, you can't. 4 dogs, 4 cats.
Oh my goodness.
You beat me.
Well now.
4 cats.
Yeah.
Oh, my friend Thea or Zelina, she just told me, I was like, how many cats do you have now? She's like, I got 10. I was like, 10 cats.
I love her. I love her.
Melina.
I'm not doing much. I'm trying to do tours everywhere because I'm trying to see as many people as I can for like, I don't know, for a long time, like after the Royal Rumble, I stopped making appearances, then family stuff happened. And, you know, so I think it's been like a year or 2 that I really haven't done many appearances. So now I'm starting back up of going because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm reaching a point that it might, you know, it's got to end sometime. So I want to try to get to as many places as I can in the next year or 3 to see if like, to just maybe close the chapter on everything.
Oh, don't close, Melina.
You know, it's like, it's one of those things, you know how it is, Roxy, like wrestling, you leave, come back. I'll never say I retire, but
no, come
The
over
end
to
is not the end.
the dog side. Come over to the rescue side.
I would love that.
It's so
It also kind of reminds me of like something Sting would say about never say never with wrestling.
that's
Seriously, it's true.
Right.
It's true. That's why, like, when I see Ric Flair, and I love Ric Flair, but when he does the retirement thing, I'm like, you're not gonna retire. How are you gonna tell people that?
Even if he's been pictured in a wheelchair. Yeah, we can't really believe he's ever going to retire.
You know what? Melina saying that she's not going to do as many appearances. Watch how many people are going to be cutting her or calling her.
There, your mic's off.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. It's then
Yeah, you just watch.
because I don't know how long am I gonna. Even though I love traveling, but how long can I do this for? It's kind of like, I got to think about like a long term, like in my old golden years. I love with the dogs.
Okay, I'm gonna say my age that I'm turning. Oh, look, Petey, don't give me a look. See,
You don't have no, but you don't have to. You don't have to do that.
Oh, I'm proud of it because
Okay, as long as you're proud of it, I don't care.
Okay,
As long as you're proud of it, I don't care.
62 on Wednesday. Social Security. And the thing is, the good thing about getting older is you don't care what people think. That is the best thing, is you don't care what people think.
I agree.
So it's an age, as Dallas would say, it's just an age.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe it's all about how, like, your essence, like how you present yourself to the world and who you are.
Exactly.
And caring whether they like you or not. I'm okay with that.
I don't care.
If they we're definitely
oh, who cares?
Honestly,
we're definitely working on
beautiful.
And we're also working on getting Diamond Dallas Page on the show ourselves.
Yeah,
he's charging a pretty penny, and we're trying to save up. But yeah, eventually we plan to have it happening.
Yeah. But I just want to say one last thing before we conclude, though. I found that video, Roxy, of us, like, on the Afterglow clues. I want everybody to see this, like, what exactly we were talking about here. This is Roxy Astor interviewing me at Afterglow in 2008.
What did you think of your first Afterglow cruise? What did you think? Oh, it's an amazing experience. It's never felt so humble in my life. This is better than WrestleMania. It's better to see it. Did you guys hear that? This is better than WrestleMania. What was your favorite part of the cruise? The Afterglow fan party. Like, it was such a, humble and very. How long have you waited for this? 7 years for this. I finally got 7 years in the making and finally came through. And was it everything that you wanted it to be?
Good.
So, would you ever do this again? Yes, absolutely. And
Still stand by it.
the Glow Girls Rock. Go All right.
We partied with Petey.
Oh, it was fun. I was acting. I was trying to be a baby face, but my inner here was coming out. Like, especially with Dallas and the late great Andrea Angel.
Oh yeah.
Like, were taking me bar hopping. That was.
Oh my God, so much.
Oh man. But my final comment, ladies, before we conclude, though, I just want to say to you, ladies, that you know what, that you have this incredible gift, ladies, and I debate this all the time with Chris. He thinks I'm repetitive with this. I like to think of it as a catchphrase, like a podcast catchphrase. And that is, you have this incredible ability, ladies, where you could take a 30-year-old something fan and bring them way down here and make them feel like that kid again, watching, whether it was Glow or whether it was watching WWE. Like, that's what I feel like. Watching, like, whenever I'm talking to you, ladies, I just feel like that little kid again, like, just watching you two and just being huge fans.
Oh, I love it.
That's sweet.
Genuine. And like I said,
yeah. Like, I want to love wrestling the way I did as a fan, because that's like a beautiful feeling to have. Like, when you're behind the curtain and all this stuff, there are moments, I think I feel that way when I interact and talk about wrestling, but not as much as when I watch it. Because watching is like analyzing and then knowing people and thinking like, I hope they're getting an opportunity, but why do they do that? And then I analyze it too much. To watch as a fan, like, that's such a beautiful gift, like a feeling.
Yeah.
It is. And Melina,
thank you for saying.
And Melina, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but I'd love to have you on for a second show, because there's so much to cover in your career. Like, I know the majority of your matches, I love them all. Like, even your title matches were just gold. 5 out of 5 stars, my opinion.
Thank you.
And I just want to say this to you, ladies. Guys, you know where I'm going with this too. This is something that you ladies deserve, and I don't care, Melina, if you're a heel. I would have done this if you were a heel or babyface, and that is thank you, Roxy Melina. Thank
you, Roxy Melina. Thank you, Roxy Melina.
You know what? If I was in the crowd and I saw you both, I would be chanting that shit right now. I don't give a shit if you for heels or faces.
Thank you, Petey. Thank you, Petey.
Thank you. And I'd love to have
everything that you Petey too. I was like, wait, who do we say? Like, 3 people.
Oh man, it was such an honor having you both. I'm gonna actually send you a copy of these interviews, this interview, as soon as I'm done editing, which will be either tonight or tomorrow, as promised.
Goodness.
When I'm done and this is all uploaded, I get on it right away.
Wow.
But
And
But it's so late over there.
everybody who joined.
thank you.
Right.
It's late, but you know what? I got the week off, Jewish holidays.
Oh.
So I have all the time in the world. And
Yeah.
also, I'm
Those-
working on, ladies, I'm so glad you're here because before we conclude, I just want to say I'm working on the ultimate best of Melina Perez and the ultimate best of Roxy Astor, which consists of, it will be 2 hours long. It's a 2-hour tribute for both you ladies. They're 2 separate videos, which
Wow.
feature your matches, promos, segments, and your respective companies. Yeah, I actually have a page that actually does that with Power Ranger stars, but I want to do that with wrestlers too, where like I'm going to cover your popular like thing and make it like 2 to 3 hours long.
I want hers.
Gosh, that's long.
I promise you that will be done, Miss Perez. I promise that we'll be done. Miss
What
Astor.
Thank
Thank you so much. You ladies have a wonderful night. Thank you, Darius and Chris, for having my back, like for co-hosting.
you.
No
Have a great
problem.
night, everybody.
Take it easy.
My pleasure.
Take care.
Love you guys.
I love you. Bye.